All right, good evening, East Hampton Town Trustees. We're live on Channel 22. We're streaming to YouTube. Phone lines are open. You are being recorded. You may begin.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody to a regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Trustees for November 24th.
All right, we got a computer there that's not muted.
Just gonna,
Okay. I'd like to open with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Marlene, can you do roll call, please?
Certainly. John Aldred.
here,
Francis Bob.
Here.
David Cataletto. Patrice Dalton.
Here,
Ben Dollinger.
here,
Jim Garneau.
here.
Jim Grimes.
Yes.
Celia Josephson. And Bill Taylor.
Here.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we'll start with public comment. Patrice, can you have that list? Thank you. Okay, I think we'll start with Andrew Burke.
Great.
Okay, he wants to talk to us about the Sag Harbor Golf Course.
I don't have packets for everyone, but I printed out a few packets of the slides that I made. I'm gonna pass them around.
Thank
You have the online copy.
Okay, just introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Andrew Burke. I'm the newest member on the board at the Sag Harbor Golf Club. And this winter, one of the things we're all talking about or looking at is what kind of small improvements can we make that make a very big difference in the course. And one thing I've always had my eye on or wanted to adjust was there's these two roads. I believe they're both trustee roads. One that cuts directly through the first hole and goes out towards the water. And then before you get to the clubhouse, you can make a right onto a road on the fifth hole, on the left side of the fifth hole. Both of these roads or these paths are currently a gravelly RCA rocky mix, more or less. People from the golf club are really the only ones that use the one on hole 5. On hole 1, it's like hunters, fishermen, hikers, runners. That's just a thoroughfare, whatever it is. But what I would love to do, propose doing is, there are other paths on the golf course that are more native and natural. They're sand capped and softer, to where if your ball lands on that path, you can hit it off the path without issue. I don't know which.
You don't like hitting rocks.
Yeah, well, it's bad for yourself, but more importantly, the golf clubs, you know, so you could damage the club, you can hurt your wrist pretty bad. You just can't do it. And the first hole is a really, really cool golf hole that would become really cool if we're able to play off that as kind of a waste bunker of sorts. So my idea for that would be not to disturb anything that's already down. It's an active path, but just to very lightly cap it with an inch to an inch and a half of sand and leave it very more or less unmaintained like it currently is, or just touch it up every now and then. It's not going to have bunker rakes blocking the road. It's just going to be sand that get mixed in with that gravel that allows the golfers to hit safely off that surface, and the cars would have no issue going over.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Is that RCA that's bleeding up to the top, is cut it down 2 inches, put 2 inches of stone dust
Okay.
over the RCA, compact it, and yes, then dust it with your sand. You'll still have a nice firm surface, but what that 2 inches of stone dust will do is it's going to provide a buffer to keep that RCA from working its way back up
Right.
to the surface. Because what's going to happen is if you overlay that with just some sand by itself, within a few months, you're going to have those RCA pebbles mixed with the sand coming up. You're just going to repeat your same problem. It's basically stone dust, the local stone dust is crushed quartz. It's just like a golf course, court, a cart path.
Right.
So it might solve your.
That would work great if we're able to. That would probably be a much more permanent or
It's just,
smooth
you're
solution.
gonna get more longevity out of it.
Right. I'm looking, and I guess first we would need your permission. I was trying to go as little touch as possible to what's already there and to your path and your road. If we're able to scrape some of it off, put down a little dust, that would work
You could
perfectly.
scrape it off. I don't know, I can't speak for the whole board, but just past, I think it's the first hole, which is by that little maintenance build. Doesn't go by a little
There's like
maintenance
the
building.
irrigation pump. Nothing we're doing would affect the paved
Yeah.
surfaces or where the
No,
house
but
is.
what
at
I
the
was
end.
gonna say is that trail, just a little ways down, is kind of rutted up pretty good.
Right.
You don't have to throw anything out. Whatever you scrape off, you could move down and use it to fill some of the ruts on that trustee
Gotcha,
road. You
yeah.
don't have to haul anything wet.
Cool. That'd be great. Similar thing for the one on 5 as well.
Does anybody want to make a motion here?
I make a motion.
Or does anybody have any questions?
No, just go ahead.
I don't want to, I mean, I don't have a problem with this, but I don't necessarily want to impose something on them that they may not want to do. If they only want to put sand down and then fails and they want to come back and
I'm not-
do the
I'm
stone
not
dust thing.
John, I'm not suggesting something that's going to be expensive for them, because just adding sand, you're basically creating a high spot where you didn't want one. It might be better to just, because you're going to do this with a small machine or that tuned up.
Right. There actually isn't the whole path down the first hole. If have you been there, it's in a little like crevice almost.
Mhm.
So the usual issues of containing washout, we don't have too much of that because it should hold in place. And the total pitch from beginning of end of path, I think is less than a foot. It goes the other way, it's like dead flat. But that would be a great, I don't think it'd be imposing something that we don't want to do. We would love to be able to hit off it, and that doesn't sound like that much more work at all.
You're just doing something other golf courses do all the time.
Yeah,
John, who are you concerned about?
No, I mean, I don't, if it's going to cost them $1,000 to put sand down and $10,000 to go with stone dust and sand and dig it out and do what you kind of described, and they don't want to do it, and they just want to put the sand down, I don't want to impose, an expense on them that they didn't plan for. If it's
Yeah.
not a problem,
no, getting a thin layer of stone, I think in sand, I estimated that it'd be right around $1,000 per hole to do in just sand. And the stone dust would add to it, but a thin layer. If it's a more permanent solution, that's my thought was we'd touch up the sand every month or every other month, just kind of flatten it out. But if it better serves the course and the access, I know it's your road, that's something that the end goal is just to be able to hit off of it, really. So,
And you still have a surface that's drivable.
yeah, it would.
From a
it'd be
vehicle
better.
standpoint and from a golf standpoint.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So make a motion?
I'll second.
well,
What?
to make a motion with some detail,
To what?
with some detail.
Make a motion to lay 1 to 1.5 inches of sand on top of the current RCA paths on holes 1 and 5. Compact sand upon installation.
It's not what we just talked about.
That's it. So that's the motion.
2 inches of stone dust,
Under the sand.
overlay it with an inch of sand.
2 inches of stone dust.
You have you only need it for like 1,200 feet or something, right? So you have that.
One hole, it's like 130 yards by yard, like 130 yards by like 8 feet wide, and another. They're really close within the total square footage, within like 200 square feet of total material.
Vehicles will still be able to use these.
Oh yeah. That's the most important part. I'm not taking
Okay.
the roads at all.
It's 200 square yards you're talking about, right?
Square feet to cubic yards. The conversion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, guys.
Yep.
Good idea.
All right, next we have Samantha Shore, piping clover presentation.
So just to start, I have some piping clover merch
Jim paid.
I have magnets for anyone who wants one. Yeah,
I do.
so I'll just lay them out.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, thank
Of
you.
course.
This is
New version.
Yeah. And then I don't know who has dogs, but we made leashes.
I always need a
So,
leash.
you know, whoever wants a leash, please take a leash.
Chewing food.
party favors always.
Leashes save piping Clover nests.
It's not even Christmas. I feel like now you'll take it, it's nobody else's.
My dog keeps chewing through his leashes, so.
Yeah, me too.
But anyways, to start off, some of you may know me, some of you don't. My name is Samantha Scher. I'm an environmental analyst with the Natural Resources Department, and I'm one of the co-managers of the Piping Plover program for us. We really appreciate your guys' support every year, so thank you. Sorry. The town assists U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the New York State DEC in federal and statewide conservation efforts for the beach nesting birds and rare beach vegetation. We mostly center on the protection of the piping plover, but we also do monitor for terns, common terns, least terns, and we're thinking about maybe doing a little bit more just like monitoring of their nests next year as opposed to just like, oh, there we see them, just because they are a concern and we're already out there anyway. So our data allows us to make informed conservation decisions about the plovers and allowing public to continue accessing the beaches. Next. So as you probably all know, plovers are small territorial nesting birds, and they're federally threatened in New York State endangered. There's approximately 6,000 to 8,000 pairs that remain in the world. And in the New York State, New Jersey sector of the plovers, their goal for productivity to move up on the list is 1.5 productivity over 5 years. Next. So each year we monitor approximately 18 miles of bay and ocean beaches, including all the beaches within the town, but not any of the federal or state-owned land or county. Yeah.
One question about the productivity goal. That's 1 chick per 2 birds.
Yeah, so 1.5 chicks per 2 birds. Yeah, for 1 pair. Next. So this graph is of the last 2008 to 2025. I'm not doing math right now. But so this year our productivity was 1.17, which was down from last year, but it was way up from the year before, which was only like 0.4. That was a rough year. We had a lot of crow predation, and this year, I'll get into it later, but we had a lot of fox predation. But we had 17 pairs fledging 20 chicks. Next, please. So our struggles that we've had this year. Fox was our main concern. They were caught on trail cameras. They were pretty much the ocean. Every nest lost at least one nest to a fox. And I think that a lot of it was the same fox, especially between like Georgia and Maine. But one even dug under our exclosures. So that's an issue as well. And yeah, okay. So ghost crabs, which is, if you can see, it's the middle right picture. We actually saw one for the first time this summer, like out while we were out monitoring. So in years past, we have seen that other towns like Southampton has had a big ghost crab problem with their eggs, and Up Island has had a problem as well. But we have never had proof that, ghost crabs took anything, but we just assumed they were there. So when we saw them this year, again, we don't have any proof that it ate anything, but they are there with their holes. And they don't seem to activate the motion censored cameras. They're small, they move really fast, but they're, you can't see them. So it's hard to catch them in the act. So we are thinking about getting like maybe new different types of cameras that will sense differently somehow. I'm not sure yet, but that was actually Napeague. That was the only spot we have specifically seen them, but we have seen holes in like Wainscott, which is right by the Southampton line. So
I think we have an increase of foxes this year.
Huh?
The foxes look a lot healthier and I see a lot
Yeah.
more of them around for some reason. I don't know why.
This is Napeag on the ocean side.
Yeah. Yep. And then we also have had crow predation, like I said, in the past. This year we had a decrease in crow predation, but they were still present. But last year it was like every nest was crows, and this year it was like every nest on the ocean was fox. So we still are trying to figure out that. Then our human disturbance, we do see dogs in the fencing so often, off leash. So we obviously we got the leashes to hand out to like dog owners who have their dogs on the beaches. If we don't see a leash, like, hey, thank you for having, like, coming out here, you know, here's a leash. Yay, plovers. So Sammy's, like Bay Beaches for sure. Ocean too, I mean, like between the stretch between Indian Wells to like Egypt, there's a lot of people who walk their dogs all the time. But I don't know like one specific beach that I see it a lot, but you know, we try to inform people as we see them. But people love their dogs and people love the beaches, and yeah, so we try.
Well, the law is they have to be under the owner's control.
Right.
They're not on a leash, they have to be under verbal control.
Mm-hmm.
Very
We have
few
seen some
dogs are trained that way.
Yeah.
So I think signage to that effect, like if you can't get your dog back with one click, you know, of a
Mm-hmm.
thing, don't take them off the leash.
Yeah, because we have actually had dogs that ran after the truck and I've had to sit there because the person doesn't even know their dog's not there. And we've like sat there and just been like, okay, we'll sit here until you can, you know, so it is a problem.
Yeah.
So other than just them walking through the fences and, you know, stepping on, they're not going to eat the eggs probably, but they might step on them. They also can just cause unnecessary stress.
Yeah.
Which could lead to abandonment and other stuff. And so we also have vehicles. We actually did lose an adult, breeding adult to a vehicle this year in the very early season while we were still, you know, putting up fencing, and we didn't know that it was there. So that was unfortunate. We had to make a whole DEC report.
You guys ran your own piping plover over.
No, we did not. No. We actually didn't know that we could drive there yet. It was up at Napeag, so it was when the dune was really rough and we couldn't even get a vehicle out there. So we had been walking, but we hadn't put up fencing.
Okay, I thought because you
No.
had a report out, I thought it meant you ran the.
No, but we had a volunteer who informed us, so we went out there and then had to contact the DEC and they collected the bird. And that bird actually, it was the female that we lost. So the male actually re-nested with another female. And I think they were successful with one chick.
I don't think they were getting along anyway.
Yeah, apparently.
Seems quick.
Has the male plover got an alibi for the time of the murder?
I don't know. Didn't talk to me. And I thought that was weird. I didn't think that he would have re-nested that quickly, but it was in like the same area. So, and then on the bottom left is a picture of a plover inside an enclosure with a firework in the background. Now that's like just a personal firework, you know, someone set off their own illegal firework or whatever. And we did go to that site the following day and the bird had never been seen again and those chicks never hatched and the eggs sat there for the whole incubation period. Yeah, so we were actually doing some research that in Nantucket, they're doing drone shows instead of fireworks. So not saying, but it's interesting and they have like music and stuff and it seems really cool. And that would definitely be better for the birds. Not that that's the only reason, but it would definitely benefit them.
I think it's more the noise than the light that scares them.
Yeah, definitely the noise. Because like obviously that one was way off in the distance. I have no idea how far away, but just the noise alone, and then the camera trap did take that picture, and then yeah, they weren't seen after that.
Yeah.
Next. So for our Bay Beaches, we had 7 pairs that successfully fledged 15 chicks with a productivity of 2.14. That was mostly Sammy's Beach that had 5 pairs and 12 chicks. They're always productive, and it's such a long beach and they all have their own space. It's really cool how they go back to the same spot every year. Maidstone pretty much always has one pair and they always fledge a couple chicks. So this year they fledged 2 and Little Alberts fledged 1, and they pretty much nest in like the exact spot on the sand every year. At least the last like 5 or 6 years.
How old do the piping plovers typically live, and what's their breeding ages? Like how many, span of approximately how many years?
I
are they
believe
productive?
that they can breed after their first year, like they go down, migrate. I think that they come back and they can breed. I want to say, I don't know the typical age, but I think we did see one of the banded birds that was like 11 and still breeding, or 9 and still breeding. So that was pretty cool. Because, I mean, yeah, they're smaller creatures, their lifespan isn't as long, so. But they do, like, if the one pair at Albert's is the same pair, which we believe it is, that's at least 6 years of breeding together, so.
We touch base with the other groups that are monitoring, like the county and
Yeah,
state parks, and compare notes on.
so especially at the Fish and Wildlife Refugee, right, we monitor back and forth because we have the one side that's Indian Wells, and then they have the Atlantic side, and then we have the other side of Atlantic. So we do monitor back and forth. If they have a nest, they let us know, and so when they hatch, we monitor them based on where they go, or like before they nest, if they're going back and forth between the two. So we do a lot with Fish and Wildlife. And then we do some stuff with Audubon for outreach, as well as Fish and Wildlife. Like 2 years ago, we did the Dogs and Donuts with you guys. This year, we just didn't do it because of the staffing from Fish and Wildlife. They weren't able to do that this year, but we're hoping to do it again next year because it was super fun. I think a lot of people, they got leashes. It was awareness. Hey, here's a free coffee. Your dog can have a biscuit, And it's to show that we do love dogs, because we do love dogs.
You didn't mention predatory hawks. I mean, you mentioned crows, but I have seen at the Double Dunes, in Amagansett on Atlantic, I've seen a lot of hawks back there, and when they just go in the dune and they come back. I mean, hawks and osprey wouldn't be there, but just birds of prey.
Yeah, last year we had the turkey vulture eat a nest at Napeague.
Oh, really?
And we caught it on camera. We just haven't caught any others on camera. And the crows do unfortunately tend to stalk the nests once they know it's there. So we don't really know much more about hawks and stuff. But I know that a lot of the birds do nest around seagulls, and I haven't seen any specific like seagulls attacking them.
Last year, not this year, last year, there were so many crows at Atlantic Beach. They would just line up on the fence by the nesting area, and it was pathetic. It was like, sad.
It's super sad.
Yeah.
And when the plovers, especially at Sammy's Beach, there's also like 5 nesting least terns. So, and they're super aggressive. If you've ever been near a least tern nest, you would know. But so I think that when they do nest near terns, the terns do help back off predators, people, dogs, like, because as a human, like as someone who has to go to the nest, I don't want to get that close, But yeah, so I think terns are good for them. Next, please. So some sites that we have seen pairs at or birds at this year that we haven't necessarily had nesting in the last few years would be Lazy Point. We haven't seen plovers there in a while, but this year we did see a pair there a couple times, but then they kind of left. So it's assumed that they probably went to the other side, the state side, and had nested there. And they were just using our land to forage. Havens Beach, since I've been here, which, hasn't been that long, it's 3 years or so, I've never seen a plover at Havens Beach, but we did have a volunteer send us a picture of one at dusk. And he said that he had seen them there like 3 times. So we went out there and looked and there was nothing there. But so my guess is, again, they probably nested somewhere in Sag Harbor and just was using it as a foraging site. And then Louse Point, the last few years, we have not had any nesting in Louse Point, unfortunately. But we have seen pairs there early in the season as well, last year as well as this year. That dune face, I think as it starts reshaping itself, because I did notice like last year it was super steep. This year in the beginning of the season, it was starting to kind of make it so that maybe they could nest up and the chicks could walk up and down. But I think the way that when it's steep, it's just impossible for them to have the chicks nest up there. So they probably just don't. But I think as it reshapes that it would become a more attractive area for them.
But would they know that? I mean,
They do stop there, so
yeah,
they're trying. So they do like test out different spots and all that. They would probably notice, I think.
I saw the one and I didn't see another.
Yeah,
I saw oyster catchers too.
yeah.
Are they typically nesting up sort of in the spoil area or on the beach proper? I mean, it sounds like they're up on the spoil area.
Yeah.
The when we saw them at Laos, I think they were up on the top, but like on the ocean or at Sammy's, sometimes they're inside a big grass bush. Sometimes they're directly on the sand in a tire track. Sometimes they're somewhat on the dune, like near some bushes. So it tends that if they lose, say they nest in the grass and they lose their nest to an early storm or something, then they will move up the dune and have their second nest up there. So, or vice versa, if they have the nest up in the dune that gets predated, they'll probably go somewhere else. Yeah. So for the ocean, Indian Wells is pretty much productive every year. They tend to fledge about 3 to 4 chicks every year, and I don't know why, but good for them. And they're really good at hiding because in the last 2 years, I haven't found the nest until I saw the chicks, and we look. So they do pretty well on their own, and I try to just, okay, they're still here, cool, like let's leave them alone because they're doing it right. Wayne Scott fledged 1 chick, Napeag, had the 2 pairs, and it did have like 2.5 pairs because the one that unfortunately got hit by the car, there was another pair, but they didn't fledge anything. And then 2 Mile had 2 pairs that fledged 1 chick. So Georgia Beach is where we had the fox that dug under the exposure, which you can see in the bottom photo. So I think next year, we're definitely going to make sure that we dig them deeper when we put them up, but we're also going to be more cautious about how we put them up because the last few years we haven't had 100% success rate for hatching. So we have seen like, yes, they're good. They keep the crows out, but then once the crows know that it's there, they hatch, the chicks leave, the crows eat them. But so it's just hard to decide. It's like you lose 2 nests, then you put 1 up kind of a thing. Next, please. So for this year, we obviously last year had to deal with a lot of the crow predation. So we decided to do some new things to help deter them. They have really good facial recognition. They're super smart. And if they see the same truck, which of course our truck is bright red, so it's very noticeable, and or the same person, same hat, they will remember that you were there, that you were at a nest, and or that you were somewhere important, and then they will go after whatever you were going after. So we've tried to, like, if we're on the ocean, we'll drive past the nest, look from binoculars. If we're on the bay side, we'll just walk from afar, maybe down by the water on a more regular basis, so they don't know exactly where we're going or where we're looking. And then they also have really good color vision and just vision in general. So we have 3 color receptors and crows have 4, including seeing ultraviolet light. And they are most attracted to the colors green, red, and blue. And so our flagging is mostly orange, if you've seen it. And then where the nest is like a bright blue flagging, which points out the nest right to the crow. So this year we decided to put up pink flagging, which is so hard that I've walked past the nest about 10 times before I found it. So hopefully that also helped out with them. So then because of our problem with fox this year, we want to try to figure out different camera traps, possibly ones that are activated differently as opposed to motion censored, because we also tend to see them prowling or like leaving. We see a tail, so we know that they were there, but we can't actually see that they were the reason, but it's just assumed. So maybe just something different. So they have a really good sense of smell. And so when we're putting up the camera traps, you have to put them in the ground, set them up and everything. So we try to set them up closer to the truck and then have them ready to go. So you just put them in the ground, but we're still up there for longer than normal and our scent lingers. And so I have seen, like going back on the camera, the same day that I put the camera in the ground, that night there was a fox. And so we have to try to figure out something different with that. And then they also tend to be attracted to the stick coming out of the ground. Like if there's no grass and they just see a stick, they're like, okay, well, that's something. So they're just as smart as crows. And then to make some exposure improvements, just making them deeper and harder to get under. So we have an annual Long Island Colonial Waterbird Survey meeting, which is when we do the plovers, the terns. This year we did gulls and all like wading birds. We counted them for breeding pairs, oyster catchers, all that. So at the end of the year, everyone comes together from all the different townships, New Jersey, New York City, and we go over our successes and our struggles that we had throughout the year. And how to improve. And, there's always like breakout rooms where we can discuss specific things. A lot of other townships have problems with cats. And I pretty much always avoid that breakout room because I'm like, we have fox, but there's no cat. I mean, there's cats, but they're not on the beach. Like we don't have a boardwalk. So, but yeah, we just try to help overall productivity. I think that's it. And yeah, thank you again for your continued support every year.
Thank you, Samantha.
Is there any questions?
No, I just want to thank you every time firework comes up and you make sure everything's okay. And
we try.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find, when you talk to other, people, groups, detecting plovers on the beaches, are you having similar issues? Like if you see fox, do they see fox? Do they see more fox when you see more fox? Or
crows more? We normally all have problems with crows. Obviously, we don't all have problems with vehicles because some of the beaches are completely shut down to vehicles, especially on state land. But I think they've really had more issues with cats. Like the amount of times I have heard feral cats are eating the nests is crazy. And I'm always like, that's not helpful. Like, I don't know how to, but.
This is more up island?
Yeah.
No, you get right out by the lighthouse in Montauk.
Mm-hmm.
There's for the feral cats out there.
I'm sure, yeah. But that's state land, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Samantha.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks for the leashes.
Oh, yeah.
If you need more, just come to our office.
Hey, Matt,
Yes,
do we have anybody on the phone line?
we have no callers on the line.
Thank you.
Actually, callers are on the Zoom. Sorry, Matt.
Again.
It's okay.
Well, yeah, I think it's John McGinn on the Zoom.
Yes.
So you want to
Yeah, let's let John get off. John McGinn?
Hi, friends. How are you? Oh, sorry. I'll put on the video. There we go.
Okay. Okay, so you want to renew your dock permit?
Yes, sir.
Who wants to address
Well,
this?
I'll address it. We have a permit. We issued a permit in 2001 for the dock that we approved.
No, it wasn't 2001.
We issued the permit in 2001 for the dock that we approved.
I think it was 2021 or
I'm sorry,
it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, 21.
And that permit expired in 2022. But at that time, this project was in legal proceedings, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
whole project was in court for a while. That's now been adjudicated, and so John is asking for an extension of the permit for 2 years. That would be 2026 and 2027. One thing we have to address, however, is that we approved a dock that had a fixed catwalk, a fixed walkway of 40 feet. And after all the proceedings with the ZBA and the courts, the final approved project came back with a walkway of 30 feet. All the other dimensions were the same. So we would have to issue a permit, 2-year permit with the dimensions modified from our original permit. If that's my understanding of where we're at and what has to be done to honor this request.
Yes, that's what I understand too. The dock shortened by 10 feet, and the trustees and your team there were very accommodating, working with us as we were going through the process to say we'll come back for the permit when and if we prevail in court. And so when we did, it's basically now a request to reissue the dock permit. And the 2-year period is just because we don't know how long the building permit process might take through the town, but we're hoping that moves quickly so that we could maybe even have the dock installed for next summer. So the 2 years we think is more generous than we need time-wise, but just that was a suggestion of someone on your team, and I was grateful for that suggestion.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing you need to do is just modify the trustee application to the dimensions to provide the adjusted survey and plan.
Oh, we have that.
Okay, well, we have it. It's just, I don't think we need to make this difficult.
No, nobody wants to make it difficult.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'd just like to, if you make a motion, I'd just like to make it subject to, conditional on review of our attorney. I don't have a problem with it, but I'd like Chris to sign off on it before it activates.
Yeah, I don't really see, I truthfully do not see this as a legal issue, John. The project got smaller. It's 10 feet shorter. It's a modification of the fixed walkway.
I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but I'd like Chris to just agree with us.
All right.
Ready to make the motion?
No, I think John wants to,
No, I would make a motion to approve this request,
conditional on.
conditional on our attorney's review.
Okay, I'll make that motion
Second.
that we approve the modification, John. You've supplied the updated permits, the updated surveys. John is asking just that our attorney look at it and make sure everything's good.
Of course, I understand.
All right. So motion's made.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Could I just say, I just want to thank you all again. It's been a long journey, and my admiration for this group in particular has gone up through the process. I know it has been a long journey, but I just have been so grateful for all of you and your team there too. It's been a very good process. So thank you. I know you guys do a wonderful job caring about the exact same thing I do, which is the quality of our town water. So I just wanted to express that explicitly. Thank you.
John,
Thank you, John. Yeah.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Next, we have Bob Teeman, Sag Harbor Bottom jurisdiction.
This will be fun.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Teeman from the South Fork Sea Farmers. In 2023, you approved an oyster reef right a little bit east of Little Northwest Creek in Sag Harbor. It was about 150 feet off the marsh. And the state rejected that application because they say they own that bottom. I've asked them for maps, some sort of, so I could find a place where we could put it, and they said there are no maps. I guess what I'm asking is, should we be looking for another location, or is that a done deal, or is that something you will be trying to pursue with the state?
We're having a similar issue with the state right now, in that we're asking to modify a permit that we have for Little Northwest Creek. And what the modification is to realign the next dredge cycle so that it more closely aligns historically with where Little Northwest Creek was. We are just hitting exactly the same hurdle with the DEC, where they're claiming that we're asking to dredge through their land. Okay, because we own Little Northwest Creek. Now, the land to the east is state parkland. So
The land, you're talking about bottom land or land?
the land,
The land, yes.
and I don't think we own that beach there.
Not that beach.
We don't own that beach. So Bob, I think,
Well, the difference here, though, is that Bob's application is clearly in the harbor, not on the land.
Yeah, I have a
adjacent to the
picture
harbor.
of it.
Yeah,
So there's a distinction between,
It's about 100, you have the,
152 or 3 feet off of the.
listen, hey, John,
I think, the issue here is the trustees have never necessarily relinquished claim of ownership of Northwest Harbor. The trustees have felt historically that the Dongan patent included Northwest Harbor, that the, people of East Hampton considered Northwest Harbor as one of the harbors and creeks that the Dongan patent addressed. Over the years, the state has claimed ownership of the bottom. They regulate shellfishing there. They, when the oyster grant program started in the 1800s, the state relinquished control of oyster cultivation in the bays and in the Peconics and Gardner's system, including Northwest Harbor, to the county. So there's part of the oyster lease law now, which is, the grant law morphed into the lease law, exists in Northwest Harbor for commercial cultivation of oysters. But the trustees have never, the trustees have sometimes not been involved, sometimes been involved in some of these changes. A couple of examples of when the trustees have been involved is one is the oyster lease laws. We had representation in the committees that crafted, where these things were going in recent years. Another example is the extended jurisdiction area in Sag Harbor, which was created by state law, but when it came to, discussions about how that area was to be managed, the trustees were involved in that. So the trustees have been involved in Northwest Harbor in different ways over the years and have not been involved in different ways over the years. When first Chris Gobler came to us and asked if he needed anything from us permission-wise when he was undertaking a project under the Peconic Estuary Partnership to look at oysters, growing oysters, eelgrass, sugar kelp along the shore of Northwest Harbor. We asked for a permit. he applied for a permit. We gave him a permit. Nobody said anything then. Nobody denied his application to the state to do it then. And then when Bob came to us and asked for permission to do the oyster reef, in a similar, fairly close, within probably 1,000 feet of Gobler's site, we also asked for a permit. And now the state is saying, no, we don't have any, the trustees have no ownership interests in Northwest Harbor. It's state land, and we're not granting a permit for this.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah. Bob can characterize what they said.
John, I think you've made a good point there, in that if we still perceive that we have ownership here and that we have rights here, Bob, I think you're coming to us with this maybe a little fortuitous, because we can, I'm thinking, while we have the present acting counsel, is have him, because he's done a lot of the title work and stuff and work related to the Donegan patent, is have Rick put together an argument and to the state as to the ownership issues, and use your oyster reef project as the impetus for that.
Sorry, go ahead.
For the impetus of for the very purpose of.
So this is the first time we're hearing about this, and when we look at Rick's memo, right, Rick wrote that memo to the Nature Preserve, and it lists all of our lands and the lands that are contested. So this was in that memo as it was contested. We claim it, they claim it. So I don't see what pushed them over. That was been our, it's been historical.
I think it's new faces.
You're not dealing with, you're dealing with a lot of different people.
Exactly.
A lot of different
So
offices.
that's my concern, is that we don't know exactly who we're dealing with and who made this determination.
Well, Bob knows.
Right, but we don't. No one came to us.
Listen,
Nobody's
Bob,
contacted
can you
us except
forward
Bob.
us the correspondence that you had with DEC?
Certainly.
Let us forward that on to our temporary council here, which I think may be ideal in this circumstance, because Rick's got a lot more experience with this than Chris does. And because I see a benefit twofold, because I don't know whether you guys have followed Little Northwest Creek. We're getting considerable pushback from DEC on that project, to the extent of they're questioning why we should be doing any dredging at Little Northwest Creek, period. Even though we have an active permit there, we're asking to modify that permit and adjust the angle of that thing. They're actually going back and questioning the permit itself. Why was this permit ever issued? Well, you guys, the DEC, issued the permit. We didn't. And we're having quite a bit of back and forth. In fact, Drew was on the phone with Chris Goldberg today, because he's getting, data from Chris as to the water testing and making the case for this. But I think if we could perhaps push back on this is everything that's going on here. Bob's project is what I could describe as benign.
Yeah.
Our project proposed adjustments to our permits is pretty darn benign, with good intent, and I think results that have been demonstrated through the water testing, both before and after. So let's try and pursue this, and maybe this thing can happen.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, it's a
Before you
great
give
spot.
up.
No, I don't want to give
And
up.
even
on
if
it.
you're even if you go and say, well, I'm going to start looking for another place, go ahead, look for another place. Maybe we circle back to this.
There'll be many more reefs, so this could be one of our
Yeah.
locations.
I would like to see come out of this, that we get an agreement with this. And one of the concerns I think I heard you express a while ago, or maybe it was some feedback you had from the state, they said something about, talked about the oyster reef, the oyster lease program, and how there's a prohibition on aquaculture under that program within 1,000 feet of shore. And they it sounded like they used that as one reason to deny you.
The response was the location in Sag Harbor / Shelter Island Sound South is state-owned underwater land that is within 500 feet of shore. The DEC has no authorization to provide access to the bay bottom for shellfish restoration projects.
No, they don't. If we own that bond.
So I would like to get an agreement with the state that we can authorize these. We have enough interest in the bottom of Northwest Harbor that we can authorize these projects. And they are going to have to give permits to, just like they do on your reef projects within town, clearly within town harbors.
Yeah, we've got two more that are probably within a week will be approved.
And
It's the same
these
process.
projects would never be, commercial oyster growing projects. And that would be assigned to the area within the oyster lease.
And you can't get more benign, as you said, than this. The worst case scenario is you have a pile of shells on the bottom of it. I mean, that's really the worst thing that can happen.
We had the person from Sag Harbor come here last week and present on all their water quality initiatives. And we have funded them in the past. We have a lot of leadership in this area of the town. I think that we can work this out with a conversation. Because right now, it's a mysterious thing, who decided this and why.
So it's very, very difficult these days. It is nearly impossible to have a conversation with the DEC.
Well, it's the DEC and the DEC. I'm not sure who is getting this information.
Danielle Stango-Torre.
Do you know where they're located?
She's in Stony Brook.
What office is this? Regulatory Affairs or Tidal Wetlands or?
Environmental analyst with, hold on, Division of Environmental Permits.
Because the Division of Shell Fisheries has a lot of experience with back and forth with local municipalities on shellfish issues. And at least in my experience, they have a deep understanding of the issues as they go back in time. So, bringing in maybe shell fisheries into this conversation might, influence this office a little bit.
Also, the Peconic Estuary Project, Marissa, who works there now, she has some maps that might be helpful too.
Right. Because I'd like to see the maps and compare that to the Dongan patent and see if there's 4 points in the Dongan patent that we need to know about: north, south, east, west. And there seem to be changing the north boundary a little bit. Because when you read it, it's very clear. And then there may have been agreements after that, many more recent years about defining it more clearly. But it's never been really clarified, even in our, to our satisfaction.
Right. Well, listen, maybe.
Yeah, if this is a test case to push forward, that'll be great.
Makes sense.
In terms of borders, there are borders now between the town, out in the bays,
Right.
between the towns. And I never realized this until it was pointed out to me by someone in the county who has experience with this. Those borders were drawn in the late 1800s when the original oyster grant laws were passed, and the authority was given by the state to the county to lease, or actually at that time grant underwater lands for oyster cultivation. Those lines were drawn by the state, I guess it was, or the county maybe, for the reasons of apportioning taxes to the different towns under the oyster lease laws, because they were grants. And they were taxed. They had property tax, just like your property. So that was something that was done, well after the
Right. After the patent. But in the patent, it says the bay that's, you know, that's a very important part. So this is not the bay.
I just started noticing that some maps are calling it Sag Harbor Bay. I've never seen that before.
Right, listen, I think this is something that's gonna take a little deeper dive than what we can do here tonight.
Well, that's important that we figure this out.
Yeah.
We've had a good interaction with the DEC with about one of the roads in the golf course. Remember, we had a,
Yeah, that's a whole different agency.
it's a whole different agency, but some would have said that was, you know, not possible. And we worked through it, so,
And they initiated the,
yeah.
All right, so if you need anything additional from South Fork Sea Farms or me, just let us know.
Bob, if you can just, like I said, forward over the correspondence that you've had with DEC.
Yes.
The first opportunity, if we can have Rick on board, have a discussion with him.
With our attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Guys, have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Kim Cordy, Friends of Georgia Capon.
I really don't have anything to present or to say, but I just wanted to come and have some FaceTime. And since I'm here, I wanted to thank you guys for your partnership, and especially with just opening the cut. That was great. And we look forward to working with you guys over the next year with the dredging and continue to open and working with the harvester and permitting. And so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Always fun.
Good to see you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Matt, do we have anyone on the phone lines?
The phone lines are quiet. We have no callers.
Okay, thank you. Move on to committee reports, kayaks, Zach Bonnick.
Yeah, I see the rack has been removed, the one that was out on the bay side.
Well, yeah, it had help by a storm.
It seems like it's been totally removed.
yeah, we took it.
Okay, so that lumber that was laying there is from you. So just was wondering if we want to talk about at this point, what we're going to do to make up for that. We're going to put another one there or put another rack somewhere else?
This is on which side?
Gardner's Bay side.
Bay side, the one that we moved over from the other side when people complained about it a few years
It
ago.
was kind of on the point.
Which side's it on?
Now it's on the bay side.
Wait, west or east?
Last point, and
Last point, okay.
there's
So,
one rack,
yeah, I would say
2 racks.
we try and get it back, but I would make it after we do the dredging of the tip.
Yeah,
Right.
but it suffered some pretty
Yeah,
good damage
kinda
numerous
gotten
times.
knocked around for a couple of years of running.
I think it's always going to be always one of those spots that's prone to.
The last time we dredged, I wasn't a trustee, but the one rack on the bay side got disturbed by the dredging. But, you know, that happens, so,
The bay side or the harbor side?
bay. There was one, this is why we put this one on the Gardner's Bay side to replace the one that it was up further upland.
I think.
Is that the one, but isn't that the one that people that were using that little peninsula to sunbathe on and stuff?
Yes.
That's where it was originally.
We're bitching about it.
Yes.
And
It was there originally,
There were
and then
three
we
there.
moved it
There were
around.
3 there. We moved 2 to the bay and 1 to Fresh Pond.
yeah, to the other side of the
Right.
dream there, yeah.
Right. And, I mean, I think it's a terrible place for racks. It's, it gets beat up.
Yeah, trouble is, there's real demand down there for
There is
the
demand.
racks.
It would be
So,
nice to find more space
well,
at
here's,
Lowe's Point on the harbor
yeah,
side.
here's the thing. I'm not sure once you go upland on that property, there is an adopted management plan as a nature preserve,
Right.
which I think does not, in its current form, allow for the racks. Doesn't allow any structures of any kind there. And I remember that this was something that
It's
was,
too high.
this was something that was discussed.
Yeah.
Um,
But in that management plan, and a trustee worked on it, there's a limit on the kayak racks on the creek side. And we hit that. Right.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we put those 3 racks there, and then the people that used that spit complained. And then we moved the racks, and then the spit got dredged through, and there was no more spit. And now the spit's grown out again. I don't know.
I think we have the
I
same
don't know if
amount.
that complaint wasn't a complaint of the moment by certain people, and that other people that are using it now, if they're different, might not object to
At the
them.
time, it was a complaint by the people that were using, because they didn't want to be disturbed and interrupted by kayakers lugging their kayaks.
It's really
over-
one vocal
Yeah.
person.
Oh, yeah, over their towels or something on the beach. It was pretty petty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You know, I think this is one of those things. What I would suggest is we do, which I would like to just update everybody on that in a moment. But I would say we wait until after we've done that dredge. We
Yes.
get down there, see if we can't perhaps find places for those 3 racks. I don't think we want to give those up necessarily. And it may, John, it may require us to go back to the Nature Preserve Committee and get them on board with the ultimate location for these things.
I think that would be great, because the ones that we lost are upland, and they would probably be in the town's land, you know, that, I think it'd be great to
There was
have,
pushback on those racks at one
Yeah.
point, but,
Not by the town.
no, by the Nature
I don't
Preserve.
recall them being upland.
yeah, they were up, so it was, like, when you walk out of the parking lot and you go down the paths, there was one cluster, like, right there,
To the
not
right,
down at the beach.
to the right. Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, you can see it.
So anyway, I think we get a little bit of time between now and kayak season. I'm sure we can find someplace and not put it down at Fresh Pond. I mean, honestly, the one at Fresh Pond should be called the punishment rack because to get to it.
How many people use that one, Allison?
I don't know, does anybody,
Yeah, people do use it.
really? Because anytime I've been down there, there's been no kayaks in it.
Full of it.
Really? It's full.
Oh, yeah.
Kayaks.
Okay, they must have been kayaking.
There's been at least 4 on there.
Or
Yeah, 'cause I was standing,
It's
I was
full.
standing there this summer for something, there was no kayak.
I think it was like 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. It's full, completely full. And sometimes people put their own kayaks in there that aren't even steers. And
Okay.
it's a nice spot if you do have to wade.
It's kind of a pain in the neck to check, because you have to walk across the creek.
Not, well, yeah.
Unless you drive all the
Unless
way
you do it
down
with a
from
pair of
the-
binoculars.
You can't see the tags necessarily.
All right, so
All right, so we'll study for relocation. PEP liaisons, TAC, I don't know what TAC is.
Technical advisory. committee.
Okay, 11.5 update.
So I just wanted to go over what the PEP presented the last time. They've kind of like come out with their 2025 budget, what the projects are and the amount. So one thing they want to do is subaqueous groundwater refugia studies. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that word, but they're using presence of radon and isotopes to determine where there's cold water along the shoreline that would be beneficial to, or at least help eelgrass to grow.
Yeah, they've done that in Napeak Harbor.
So they have collected thousands of images of the cold water along the whole Peconic Estuary area. And they have to analyze those. So that's one of the projects, which is interesting. And then they want to use diamondback terrapins as catalysts for estuarine conservation, integrating telemetry and isotope analysis to advance habitat protection and public stewardship. So that's another one where they're going to be tracking the diamondback terrapins.
Are these like graduate student projects, thesis projects that are?
It's Matt Scalafani and Oliver Shipley.
Yeah, Matt's the guy that does the horseshoe crabs.
It's what?
Matt's the guy that does the horseshoe crabs.
So they showed some interesting visualizations of where the diamondback terrapin had gone in the little bay when it went in, and through the eelgrass. It was interesting. And we do have those. Like I know I see them in Accabonac.
No, I catch you when I get down when we're doing the horseshoe crab counts. I go down a lot of times, sometimes before or after.
Oh, yeah?
And I photograph them in the little creeks and stuff there. You can catch them sleeping on the bottom.
It's interesting.
Yeah, they're the prettiest turtle we have in the Northeast, by far.
And then they spoke about their work on eelgrass, and they've been working on it since 2018. Some of our friends have been going out in the field for many years, inventorying it. So they have a lot of maps of the eelgrass and how it changed over time. And they have computerized those so we can look at them. I thought they would be in that map application, but it's not in there yet. So, but you can go online and see how it's changed. So the things they are going to do is the eelgrass monitoring strategy. They've taken that under their, one of their objectives is to manage the eelgrass monitoring. They're going to do the seagrass, and they're going to do the turtle launching, the turtle monitoring. They put about $1 million into the seagrass program.
How's their funding stream holding up?
They're not complaining about the funding. They're getting different funding streams. They authorized another one, which is clam monitoring in the town of East Hampton. It's to monitor results of shellfish restoration efforts, share findings, and encourage the creation of shellfish spawner sanctuaries. So they want to build this capability in the town of East Hampton. The budget for that one is $50,000. So they're going to be working with Barley on that.
Nice if they came to us and described it.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be really important. Even Barley to come to us and describe it.
They're supposed to come to the Water Quality Technical Advisory Committee in December to discuss their project. So if this is one of the projects they discuss, this clam project, I'll point out that the trustees would love to have them come and describe it directly to us.
Well, they gave the budget. So for the diamondback terrapins, that's 2 years totaling $300,000. And again, that's already sunk costs because it's been ongoing. I did see one of the early papers from the author, and I thought it was very interesting, but it needed a lot of work, needed more data. So for this fiscal year, it's $134,000 for this project. And then the groundwater discharge, that's $20,000. And then a heat map for the remainder is $75,000. Then the clam monitoring is $50,000. So that's the work plan for 2026 and the remainder of 2025. I mentioned this last time, they backed off on the bulkhead removal project sites that they had nominated. But they are calling for suggestions. So we just had the property on Hog Creek, it's going to be the little nature preserve, the 5 lots that are put together. Someone removed a bulkhead on that one. So this would be a good example.
It's going to be your best opportunity.
Yeah.
To do that, is to get something that's in town jurisdiction. The state thing, when they were talking about removing that bulkhead down at Napeag, that was a non-starter from the beginning, because there was no way that the state of New York was going to allow the jurisdictional boundaries to change on their property.
No.
Yeah, so, listen, I think something like on Hog Creek probably is doable.
Yeah.
And would make a lot more sense. Because one, it's a shoreline less prone to scouring, it's less prone to erosion. You don't have any upland structures that are jeopardized in the event that this thing does create a situation where there is more erosion as opposed to what's there now, so.
But did
Yeah,
you say
and
they already removed it?
Excuse
On
me?
one property,
How many are there?
there's, I think, 5 properties.
There's like 5 lots, 5 properties put together.
How many bulkheads?
Yeah, I don't think. they
One
all-
that I know of, because they went to the town board and they presented on the management plan for this little preserve. And they mentioned that when they took the bulkhead out, they created some disturbance and that there was going to be some work by Rob to do some kind of a cleanup effort there. And, you could look, you can see that there was remnants of the bulkhead there.
But it sounds like they missed their opportunity on that.
Yeah, yeah. So if any more of these come through, like a CPF purchase, because when you have a CPF, do you have to take down the bulkhead?
To take the house
I
down.
don't think you have to take a bulkhead down
You have to
necessarily.
take if there's a house on the property, it's got to be removed, and usually that's done prior to the contract. There's a contract done up, they can't close. The homeowner
Right, you have to get rid of it.
demos the house, technically.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be removed. I think they're talking about using those houses on the Wainscott property. Nonprofit, some kind of nonprofit use of those houses. So typically they are removed, but I don't think they have to be.
Well, if we think of anything, they're calling for suggestions. They still have the funding. And then the acres to conserve, they still want to go through that, the strategy I mentioned before, which is any agricultural land would be tier number 1, any undeveloped land, any shoreline parcels should be their tiers, anything in the 0 to 2 year travel time. And then the final thing they mentioned was their project mapper, which, that map. I know I'm going to have to get just to understand this mapper, but it's not easy to do, so. But that was it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Francis, on committee reports, can I?
Sure.
On that, Pete. Getting back to committee reports, I don't know, I think everybody's aware we let Georgia on the 13th of this month. As of yesterday, as of actually today, it's holding quite well. In fact, the let's widened about 6 to 8 feet in the last 24 hours.
Wow.
The flow rate's good. It's staying true. Every couple days, it's migrating east or west a little bit, but it's staying pretty much intact. So I think that's going to be open for a while. There's been a bunch of seals down there. There's been a bunch of sanderlings that are running around down there. So it's been kind of nice. There was a bald eagle there the other day. Francis and I have a meeting with Pat Bistrian tomorrow to do the emergency dredging of Accabonac and also to go over and look at Fresh Pond. The goal right now is we have 2 permits that we checked. They're intact. They're viable, and the plan is to get both of these done before the 31st of December when the window closes. So.
Good.
Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Yeah, I just have a couple of Wainscott Pond numbers, blue-green algae numbers. On the 12th, the number was 713.78 micrograms per liter, and on the 19th, it was 725.16, so it's been consistently climbing. The corresponding number last year on the 20th of November was 677.4, so it's still exceeding last year's numbers and has continued to climb as the weather's gotten cooler. So
it looks like it dipped last year in the.
Yeah, once the weather gets colder and the water temperatures drop, it'll fall off.
Yeah, you should expect a fall.
But when it falls off, that blue-green algae is still there. It's coating the bottom, it's coating some of the other vascular plants. So, once the conditions are right, it's going to pop right back up.
It never falls below the baseline.
Oh, no. The baseline of 25?
Yeah.
No.
Never.
No, the lowest number last year was 80. The baseline is 25. So the number below which it's not considered a bloom.
Right.
And the lowest number this year was 121. So.
It's a mess.
It's been a mess.
All right. Payment of the bills. We have Riverhead Building Supply, $88.58, pump out boat supplies. And we have East End Excavating, $1,000 for the opening of the Georgia Pond Cut.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
The shed on Ancient Highway that was placed illegally is gone. And the tree that a neighbor to Ancient Highway asked us, was concerned about falling onto his property, a dead pitch pine, was removed this past week. So Mickey's Carding took that away.
Okay.
It's done.
Great, thanks.
Oh, since David's not here, just mention the Santa Parade, December 6th, 11 a.m. to be there. And I just saw his email.
Is he towing the boat or no, just the truck?
Sounds like he's expecting the boat to be towed.
Oh, is he?
Cover that one.
So we got one not shrink wrap still? Or?
Correct.
Actually, I don't know if other committee members are involved in this with David to get ready for this parade, but I was going to ask David if, make sure that boat is ready to go.
The day of.
On the day of the parade. And, somebody goes down there before that day and gets it ready, cleans it up, takes whatever out of it needs to go out of it.
Where is the boat?
It's behind the office.
Okay.
It's uncovered. There's a
Gonna need clean.
Temporary, but
It's a reusable tarp one,
reusable
right?
cover that's just rolled up on the deck of the boat now. So we didn't cover it, knowing the parade was imminent. That's got to be taken off the boat, and I don't know what else is in the boat. Last year, the hoses and all the lines and bumpers and everything were still in the boat. They had all be taken out. I'd like to see that boat clean by that day.
I'll remind him.
Yeah, we'll not talk about that. Okay, do I I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
For what?
It's close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.